Liz Woods just looked her absolute best friend in the eyes on national television and calmly admitted she slept with her son.
Like, genuinely looked her in the eyes.
Literally straight in the eyes.
Hey.
I need everyone to just, like, stop what they're doing right now, pull the car over.
Put down the laundry.
Put the laundry down. Today, we are fully unpacking the psychological wreckage of the 90-day tell-all. Like, we are looking at the anatomy of profound betrayal.
And the insidious red flags we all completely ignore.
Right, and why human beings are so deeply, deeply addicted to their own romantic delusion. So, babes, welcome back. We love you, we see you, and if you are new here, go ahead and subscribe because, babes, we are your people.
We really are. And babes, if you are a returning babe, first, we fucking love you, and second, damn babes, you look amazing.
You do.
Seriously, you look like you have your life completely together, which is honestly more than we can say for literally anyone on the TLC network right now.
Oh my God, the bar is literally in hell.
It's in the Earth's core. We are going to get into the absolute masterclass in deflection, coercive control, and just dating chaos that this tell-all just delivered.
We absolutely are. But first, let's just set the scene for you guys. The wine is officially flowing.
Heavily flowing.
Like, very generous pours tonight.
Yeah.
The giant bowl of aggressively seasoned popcorn is out, the fuzzy blankets are secured, and honestly, babes, you are just excited to be here tonight.
Because we need this.
We really need this. The reality TV mess is the only thing keeping us tethered to the earth right now, because Monday was honestly an absolute act of violence.
A literal hate crime against our peace.
I am emotionally drained, but I am entirely committed to this spiral. I felt every single second of the workday today, every agonizing tick of the clock.
Oh, I know. I am currently functioning purely through caffeine, a very, very heavy pour of Pinot Noir, and sheer weaponized sarcasm.
Right.
Mondays are just spiritually aggressive. It is a systemic issue.
Spiritually aggressive is the exact phrase. Like, surviving dentistry all day is no joke. You are hovering over people, staring into the abyss of their mouths, listening to them absolutely lie to your face about their flossing habits.
People lie so much.
Like, sir, your gums are weeping. Do not look me in the eye and tell me you use glide threaders every night. I know the truth.
The gums don't lie.
They really don't. By the time the clock hit 5 p.m., I didn't just want to clonk out physically. I wanted to emotionally dissociate from my own body.
It is a profound psychological burden. I mean, you spend 8 hours a day essentially acting as a hostage negotiator between a patient and their own neglected molars.
Yes.
And they look at you with that pure, unadulterated panic in their eyes, and you just have to smile through your little mask and say, oh, almost done.
While your lower back actively disintegrates.
Literally, the human spine was not meant for dentistry. So yes, we desperately need to talk about other people's manufactured drama to forget our own reality right now.
Exactly. And we've been getting so many questions in the comments, so tonight you wanted to answer a few to just detox from the workday before we get into the heavy, heavy delusion of this recap.
And let's do a little palate cleanser.
Exactly. So we're weaving this right in. First up, do you have pets? Spoiler alert, absolutely yes.
So many.
I am a mother to the most ungrateful, majestic, perfect, furry angels on this planet. I basically go to work to look at weeping gums just so I can afford their premium grain-free food.
And the orthopedic beds they absolutely refuse to sleep in.
Exactly. They just sleep on the cardboard boxes the beds came in.
It's true. Your house is essentially a petting zoo run by a highly organized canine mafia.
It really is. Okay, next question. Favorite cuisine?
Look, I could be super pretentious right now and talk about, like, a perfectly seared scallop with a yuzu reduction.
Which you do love.
I do. But if we're being completely honest, my palate ultimately bows down to the Holy Trinity, which is authentic street-style tacos al pastor, aggressively spicy Thai drunken noodles, and whatever random cheese is currently on sale at the artisan market.
That is the only correct answer. It's the high-low balance. Okay, next question. Longest you've ever been single?
Oh, wow.
Oh my God, I feel attacked by this question. Like, we are literally perma-singles at this point.
We truly are.
I feel like I've been single since the flip phone era. It's a lifestyle choice that wasn't exactly a choice.
We have transcended singlehood. Like, we are monks of the modern dating era. We exist on a higher plane of isolation.
I love that for us. Okay, next is, do you have kids? Nope, zero. Just the aforementioned spoiled animals.
Which brings us beautifully to the final question, and this is basically the theme of our entire reality TV obsession tonight. What kind of partner are you manifesting?
Oh, I love this question so much because it taps into the absolute core of human delusion.
Let's hear the delusion.
Cool. Okay, I am manifesting a soft life. I am fully romanticizing The delusion of finding a sugar daddy who does not want to be perceived.
Wait, invisible wealth.
Yes, I want someone to fund a life of absolute leisure, drop off luxury handbags, and maybe we just, nod at each other from across a massive empty estate.
Just a polite nod from the West Wing.
Exactly.
Mm.
I want my biggest daily stress to be whether the pool cabana needs new throw pillows. I want to be a lady who lunches. Is that so wrong?
I love that you are fully embracing the delusion because let's look at the actual landscape. Dating in your 30s is a waking nightmare.
It is so bad.
It is a terrifying wasteland of weaponized incompetence, ghosting, and, these weird situationships.
Right.
Modern dating is essentially downloading an app to look at pictures of men holding dead fish, swiping until your thumb physically cramps, and then deleting the app in a fit of existential dread.
The fish pictures are a pandemic.
Right. I am pretending to be logical about this, but honestly, my red flags have become completely unhinged at this point. Number one deal breaker, men who don't use coasters.
Wait, really? The coaster is where you draw the line in the sand.
100%.
What about, emotional unavailability or bad credit?
Oh, the coaster is indicative of all of that. If you do not respect the wood, you do not respect me. It is that simple.
Oh, my God.
Seriously, a water ring on a mahogany coffee table is a sign of deep underlying sociopathy. It says, I live entirely in the present moment, I have absolutely no foresight, and I fully expect someone else to clean up after my condensation.
Wait, that is so profound.
If a man sets a sweaty glass of iced coffee directly onto a wooden surface, it shows a lack of object permanence and basic home training. I am calling an Uber mid-date.
Okay, I actually see the vision there. It's the micro behavior that predicts the macro behavior.
Exactly.
It's like when someone has a single flat pillow on their bed,
Oh.
the pancake pillow. It's terrifying. Am I supposed to sleep on a folded towel?
The pancake pillow is a cry for help.
But, speaking of the stark contrast between what we want and the exhausting reality of what we get, we have to talk about the niece spiral from yesterday.
Oh, we have to.
Because it completely mirrors the delusion of the people we're about to talk about on this tell-all.
Yes, the sheer audacity of youth. So my 13-year-old niece texted yesterday and asked the wildest question.
It was so cute, though.
She wanted to know if she could shadow both of us at the dental office for her school's career day.
And I, being the supportive, emotional best friend, instantly reacted with pure joy. I was like, oh my God, how ambitious. We can get her a little monogrammed lab coat. She can hold the suction tube. We'll take her out for an aesthetic iced matcha on our lunch break.
See, you were instantly romanticizing her having this girl boss moment.
I saw the vision.
And I immediately spiraled into deep analytical concern. I'm looking at this text message thinking, does this child have any earthly idea what dentistry actually entails?
She doesn't.
She really doesn't. She sees the cute tailored scrubs on TikTok. She sees the aesthetic day-in-the-life vlogs with the lo-fi hip-hop music in the background.
The iced coffee runs.
Exactly. She is completely blind to the actual physical reality. She does not see the emotional damage, the crushing student loans, or the fact that human saliva and halitosis are your primary work environment.
We seriously debated whether to protect her peace or shatter her illusion. Do you remember what you thought adulthood looked like at 13?
Oh, I had a whole cinematic universe planned out.
Right, because I thought I would be living in a Manhattan penthouse, wearing a power suit with shoulder pads, hailing yellow cabs, and eating salads out of clear plastic bowls while briskly walking in stilettos.
The brisk salad walk is so iconic.
I thought being an adult meant you just inherently knew how to do your taxes and host dinner parties.
Same. I thought having a leather briefcase automatically meant you had a 401k in your life together.
Yes.
Now I know that a briefcase just means you're carrying around a laptop that gives you a daily migraine. The reality of adulthood is just being perpetually exhausted, figuring out what to thaw for dinner every single night until you die, and wondering why your shoulder hurts when you literally just slept on it incorrectly.
Literally.
If you had to go back and survive high school again with your current adult exhaustion levels, could you do it?
Absolutely not. I do not have the stamina for locker combinations, cafeteria politics, or gym class. I would be in the back of homeroom taking a nap.
Same. I'd be asleep under the desk.
But that innocent, completely delusional optimism of a 13-year-old wanting to shadow a dentist, that is the exact same psychological mechanism driving the grown adults on the TLC network.
It really is.
It is the absolute refusal to look at reality.
It is the perfect thematic bridge, because today we are talking about the illusion of control. We are talking about people who construct these elaborate fantasies about their relationships, their partners, and their own behavior, completely ignoring the massive, glaring red flags burning right in front of them.
We are officially unpacking the 90-Day The Single Life Season 5 Tell-All, Part 1.
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's get into it. And we have to start at the absolute top, which is the production of this episode itself. Ross Mathews.
Oh my God, Ross.
I was screaming at my television when he walked out. Ross Mathews is taking over for Sean Robinson, and I am emotionally so invested in this pivot.
It was a massive shift in energy.
I read this interview where he said he took this hosting gig so seriously, quoting, "I felt more prepared for this than anything I've ever done in my entire life."
Yeah.
And you could feel that energy.
He changed the entire molecular structure of the tell-all. Like, don't get me wrong, Sean Robinson is an absolute icon of the genre.
Obviously. We love Sean.
But Sean's style over the last few years has become very passive. It's observational. She lets people scream over each other for 5 minutes, offers a polite smile, and says, well, we clearly aren't going to resolve this today. Moving on.
Yes.
It leaves a viewer incredibly frustrated because the core issues are never actually addressed.
Exactly. You're sitting on your couch, screaming, ask her about the texts, ask her about the timeline, and Sean just moves on to the next couple.
Yeah.
But Ross is a fan.
Exactly. The psychology of having a fan as the host is brilliant production. Ross acts as the audience surrogate.
He really does.
He is sitting there asking the exact hard questions the Reddit threads have been screaming about for months. He isn't letting them off the hook. He is pressing them on their hypocrisy.
He held their feet to the fire.
And can we take a moment to appreciate the physical set, the staging, the moody lighting, the layout? It felt elevated. It felt like we were actually getting to the bottom of things.
It felt like an interrogation room, but make it chic.
Very chic interrogation.
But honestly, before we even get to the beautiful stage, the backstage mess was giving me palpitations.
The green rooms are where the real show happens.
Reality TV has finally realized that the best footage isn't on the couches, it's in the green rooms in the hotel hallways. We see all this footage of everyone arriving in New York.
Still chaotic.
Colt is flying in from Brazil, because of course he is over there visiting Diana. Cortney is hanging out in her hotel room with Philip. And then we get the visual of the underwear.
Okay, let us unpack the psychological horror show that is the face underwear.
I reacted with visceral horror. Philip is sitting in the hotel room, and he is wearing boxer briefs that have Cortney's face printed all over them.
Just her face, everywhere.
Her giant disembodied head floating across his crotch. Why? Who asks for that?
Nobody of sound mind.
Who logs onto a website, uploads a JPEG of their girlfriend, and pays $29.99 for that. It is so weird.
It's highly disturbing.
He is this older, allegedly distinguished guy with a big house, and he is wearing novelty gag gifts from Spencer's Gifts.
It's territorial marking, but make it highly uncomfortable.
Yes.
When you see a partner wearing clothing with the other person's face on it, especially early in a relationship or in a highly volatile relationship, it's rarely just a cute joke.
Right.
It's a subconscious display of possession. It's saying, look at how committed I am, while simultaneously being incredibly intrusive. But the underwear isn't even the main event.
Not at all.
The real mess is the hallway collision between Colt and Cortney.
Right. They cross paths backstage, and they immediately start screaming at each other. Cortney is in the hallway going, "I went through your phone, you're a liar, you were texting Diana."
Her vocal fry was out of control.
And Colt is just standing there in this oversized Mr. Rogers cardigan, looking incredibly annoyed. But wait, why are they fighting in the hallway?
That is the core question. Why can't they save it for the stage?
Seriously.
You are both veteran reality TV stars. You are getting paid to sit under the hot lights and be dramatic for the cameras. Do not give away your premium A-tier conflict in a fluorescent-lit hallway next to the craft services table.
Right next to the mini muffins.
It shows a complete lack of impulse control. Cortney cannot regulate her emotions long enough to walk 20 feet to her designated chair.
And it's so chaotic because Vanja and Liz are just standing there in the hallway, jumping in and ganging up on Colt.
Like a weird Greek chorus.
But honestly, watching Colt and Cortney bicker over a cell phone feels like a light appetizer compared to the absolute tragedy, betrayal, and delusion of Liz's storyline.
Oh, Liz, we need a corkboard and some red yarn to map this out.
Liz's tangled web is the emotional anchor of this entire tell-all. It's a masterclass in how trauma compounds and how people desperately try to outrun their own pain.
Let's start chronologically with the Jason aftermath.
Okay, this part actually made me so deeply emotional, and I just have to send Liz so much supportive energy. So we find out what happened with Jason.
The biggest downgrade in history.
On the show, he seemed like this massive upgrade from Big Ed. He was handsome, age-appropriate, seemed relatively normal. But no, the illusion shatters. Liz reveals that Jason had a secret girlfriend for an entire year while they were together.
A whole double life.
And it gets so much darker. He got the secret girlfriend pregnant. And simultaneously, Liz found out she was pregnant. And then, tragically, Liz miscarried.
It is objectively horrific. I mean, to find out your partner is living a double life is one layer of trauma. To experience a miscarriage simultaneously is just devastating.
It's too much for one person.
And Jason, proving himself to be an absolute emotional void of a human being, didn't even step up to support her through the medical emergency. He abandoned her during the most vulnerable moment of her life.
It is sickening. But this is where the story takes this crazy cosmic turn. Because Jason abandoned her, and because she was dealing with the physical aftermath of the miscarriage alone, Liz went to a free medical clinic to get an ultrasound and make sure everything was okay.
Right. And this is the bittersweet, staggering reality of how the universe sometimes operates.
It really is.
It was at that free clinic during the follow-up for the miscarriage that the doctors identified a mass that caught her ovarian cancer.
Wow.
If Jason hadn't been a monster, and if she hadn't suffered the miscarriage, she might not have gone in for that specific scan. Going to that clinic for a profound tragedy literally saved her life by catching the cancer early enough to treat it.
It gives me chills just thinking about it.
Right.
She gave an update on the stage, saying she's doing okay right now, but they found a new mass in her stomach. So she will eventually need a hysterectomy, but she's not rushing the surgery just yet.
Yeah, she needs time to heal.
That is heavy, real-life, existential trauma happening while the TLC cameras are rolling. You can't help but root for her to just find peace. But then the coping mechanism kicks in. She goes to the Dominican Republic.
Yes, the infamous Villa Ho phase.
Oh my God.
This is where we pivot from genuine heavy reality to the absolute absurdity of reality TV behavior. We have to look at this through the lens of trauma response. Liz has just survived a miscarriage, cancer, and a brutal betrayal. So what does she do?
She seeks ultimate escapism.
She goes to the DR with the girls, and she hooks up with Villa, the local guy.
And they brought Villa out on the screen at the tell-all. And he confesses, in front of everyone, that he actually loved her.
Over a grainy Zoom connection.
I was sitting on my couch saying, "Aw!" Liz is on the stage crying her eyes out because she didn't know the extent of his feelings. She literally said, "If I would have known that in the DR, it could have changed things." It felt so dramatic and romantic. A missed connection.
I am shutting this romantic narrative down immediately.
Why?
We have to look at the data, not the tears. Let us quote the great philosopher of our time, Julia, who yelled from the peanut gallery on stage, "You've been acting like a hoe."
Julia is so unhinged for that.
And Liz even agreed. She said, "I was in a hoe phase. I fully align with Julia on this. It was a vacation fling. You were drinking Mama Juanis on a catamaran. You hooked up with a local for 4 business days. It was a distraction from your cancer diagnosis."
Okay.
Stop crying over a man you barely know just because he retroactively claims, via Zoom call, that he was deeply in love with you. It is pure fantasy.
Okay, you're being so harsh, but when you strip away the romantic music the producers added, you're completely right. It was escapism.
Total escapism.
But the craziest part is, she can't be with Villa anyway, because she is currently engaged to Alec, the brand new fiancé.
Oh, Alec.
We finally get to meet him on the stage. He's from her hometown. They reconnected. And babes, the ring. Alec got her a 4-carat radiant cut custom ring by Presley & Co. Fine Jewelers.
You did your research on the jeweler.
That is not a mall kiosk ring. That is serious, tangible money. It's like a Hallmark movie. The hometown boy saves her from the reality TV gutter and gives her the soft life.
It is time to dismantle the Hallmark movie. First of all, the visual presentation.
Oh, no.
The Reddit scholars were absolutely destroying Alec's haircut, and I have to agree. What was happening on his head?
It was a choice.
He had bald spots everywhere. It looked like he lost a fight with a pair of clippers in a dark room. It did not scream wealthy savior. But more importantly, let's break down the mechanics of this timeline, because the timeline is completely, demonstrably unhinged.
Wait, I actually didn't piece the timeline together while I was watching. How does it break down?
Okay, think about the sequence of events as admitted by Liz herself on that stage. Alec and Liz were not officially exclusively boyfriend and girlfriend before she went on this girls' trip to the DR.
Right.
She goes to the DR. She has her self-proclaimed hoe phase with Villa, who she is now crying over. She flies back to the U.S. She admitted to Ross that when she returned, she and Alec had a rocky 2 weeks because she totally shut down emotionally.
Oh, true. She did say that.
So they aren't official. She hooks up with someone else. She comes back. They fight and are distant for 14 days. And then suddenly, boom, they're engaged with a 4-carat custom ring.
Oh my God, wait a second.
Yeah, do the math.
If she was in the DR and then they fought for 2 weeks, custom rings take weeks, sometimes months to design and cast.
Yeah.
Alec must have been sitting in a jeweler's office picking out a 4-carat radiant cut diamond while she was literally on a boat with Villa.
Exactly. The cognitive dissonance is staggering. You do not buy a 4-carat custom piece of fine jewelry for a woman who is currently giving you the silent treatment after a girl's trip.
You really don't.
That is not romance. That is a massive, overcompensating Band-Aid on a relationship that has absolutely zero foundation. It is rushing into a legally binding commitment to avoid dealing with the messiness of actual dating.
It is pure delusion. It's the idea that a big enough diamond can act as a shield against all your past trauma.
Wow. It's a shiny distraction.
But wait, as crazy as that timeline is, the engagement isn't even the biggest bombshell of Liz's segment. We have to talk about the absolute nuclear option. We have to talk about Jamal.
Drop the bomb.
I am still vibrating with secondhand embarrassment over this.
Okay, put yourself in the room. Ross is doing his hosting duties, digging into the timelines. Over in the cast seating area, Cortney, who, let's remember, is inherently messy and lives for chaos, is whispering to Pedro.
Like a middle schooler in study hall.
Like loud, conspicuous middle school stage whispering. Kim, who is sitting right next to them, demands to know what is being whispered about her son, Jamal.
Kim has a radar for her son. And Ross, being the professional host we need, stops the show and asks the question out loud to the group. What is the secret?
And Liz, cornered by the whispers and the cameras, drops the nuke. She looks at Kim and admits that she's slept with Jamal.
I screamed. I literally dropped my popcorn. Liz tried to soften it by saying, it was a long, long time ago, but nothing since then, I swear.
As if the timeline makes it better.
I do not care if it was during the French Revolution, Liz.
Yeah.
You slept with your best friend's son. For any listeners who don't know the deep lore here, Liz and Kim did a spinoff called Pillow Talk together.
The ultimate bonding experience.
That is a show where cast members literally sit in their beds in matching pajamas, watching the episodes and judging other people's relationships. They built this deep, public best friendship on that bed, all while Liz was harboring the secret that she had seen Kim's adult son naked.
Let's analyze the anatomy of this betrayal because it is fascinating. This is a fundamental violation of the bestie code.
It is treason.
It is one thing to have a drunken hookup. It is an entirely different level of psychological manipulation to look a mother in the eye, share intimate conversations with her, call her your best friend, and actively conceal the fact that you slept with her child. That requires a level of compartmentalization that is genuinely alarming.
It's sick. Imagine you are sitting at brunch with your best friend, drinking mimosas, and you know you hooked up with her offspring, and you just don't say anything. For years.
Just sipping your mimosa with that secret.
And poor Alec, he is just sitting there on the tell-all stage in his patchy haircut, realizing his brand-new fiancée has a history of hooking up with half the extended cast of the TLC universe.
Alec looked like a computer that was buffering.
He really did.
You could see him downloading the new terms and conditions of his relationship in real time. But I want to focus on Kim's reaction, because it was the most genuine, unproduced moment of reality television we have seen in years.
It was so raw.
She didn't scream, she didn't flip a table or throw a drink. She just looked at Liz, processing the sheer weight of the deceit, said, "Girl, bye," and walked right off the stage.
It was so powerful. It was the reaction of someone whose heart just broke, not someone trying to secure screen time.
I fully, 1000% side with Kim. You cannot come back from that. The trust is permanently vaporized.
It's gone forever.
But as we know on this network, the mess never stops. Let's transition from the betrayal of best friends to a different flavor of toxic dynamics, which is the illusion of closure with Pedro, Sophie, and the Colombian psychologist.
Oh, Sophie. I honestly felt so bad for her at the beginning of this segment. The level of sheer icy avoidance Pedro was giving her was insane.
It was cold.
So Sophie arrived in New York City to film the Between the Sheets segments, which is the pre-show interviews, and Pedro literally refused to be in the same geographic location as her. The producers had to go to Sophie's dressing room and say, "We are respecting Pedro's wishes. He won't even walk past you in the hallway. That is so cold."
See, I am going to push back on this entirely. I am rolling my eyes at Sophie's victim routine.
Really? You don't feel bad for her?
No, because yes, Pedro is being incredibly cold, but Sophie architected this entire situation. Let's look at her behavior. She goes to the Dominican Republic under the guise of exploring things with Pedro, but she's still legally and emotionally tangled up with her ex, Rob the Knob.
True. She was definitely sending mixed signals in the DR.
Mixed signals is an understatement.
Mm.
When Rose pressed her on the tell-all about her divorce from Rob, she couldn't even give a straight legal answer.
Vague.
She gave this wishy-washy, well, I'm towards the end of the process now, but admitted she wasn't fully over Rob while she was in the DR flirting with Pedro. She wanted Pedro to chase her while she held on to her safety net. She played games.
That's true.
And Pedro, who has survived the psychological warfare of his marriage to Chantel, saw right through it. He knows that closure is a myth. He shut the door because he refuses to be a pawn in her divorce drama.
Okay, when you frame it like that, Pedro actually set a very healthy boundary. But we have to talk about the real reason Pedro is glowing. We have to gasp at his new girl, Valentina.
She is a star.
The stage doors opened, and out she walked. She is stunning. She slid into his DMs while he was visiting Colombia. Did you see his face?
He was beaming.
Pedro smiled bigger in that one moment than he ever did in his entire multi-year marriage to Chantel, or during his entire situationship with Sophie. He looked like a man who had won the emotional lottery.
Well, analytically speaking, he kind of did. Valentina is a massive step up. But of course, because Pedro is perpetually cursed by his bloodline, we have to deal with the wrath of his sister, Nicole.
Who's Nicole?
They patch Nicole in via video call from the DR, and the absolute hostility radiating off that screen is studied in a lab toxic.
My jaw unhinged. Nicole takes one look at Valentina, who is gorgeous, articulate, impeccably dressed, and travels between Colombia and the UK, and immediately accuses her of being an escort.
The lowest blow.
To look at a professional woman and just immediately say, well, she travels, so she must be selling her body, is peak Nicole delusion. It is such pure, unadulterated jealousy.
It is classic projection. Toxic family systems despise independent outsiders. Nicole's entire identity is tied up in controlling Pedro and relying on him.
Yes.
When she sees Valentina, a woman who has her own resources, her own life, and clearly cannot be manipulated, Nicole panics. She tries to devalue Valentina using the oldest, most misogynistic insult in the book.
But the way Valentina handled it. I want to frame her response and hang it in the Louvre. She didn't stutter. She didn't cry.
She didn't even raise her voice.
She didn't start screaming like Cortney would. She just calmly looked into the camera with his perfect patronizing smile and delivered the ultimate shield against gaslighting. No, I make my own money. I don't have to do that to make my own money, okay? I got jobs. I am a psychologist.
It was magnificent. Financial independence is the ultimate boundary against toxic people. You cannot manipulate a woman who can afford her own plane ticket home. No, honey, I make my own money is the thesis statement of a healthy, secure adult.
I want it on a t-shirt. Honestly, printed on Phillips underwear.
Oh my God.
I am obsessed with Valentina. I want her to just sit on the stage and psychoanalyze the entire cast for the rest of the season.
She would need a team of researchers and a massive grant to untangle this cast.
Seriously.
Speaking of people who desperately need psychiatric intervention, let's talk about the most confusing conflict of the night. The battle of the big boys, Jamal versus Colt.
What was this? I was so confused watching this unfold. It was the most random, out-of-nowhere fight.
It makes zero sense.
They're backstage, standing near the snacks, and Jamal just starts coming for Colt. He starts aggressively questioning Colt's morals, his upbringing, and how he treats women. I was sitting there thinking, since when is Jamal the ambassador for feminist theory and women's rights?
Since literally never. But before we get to Jamal's psychology, we have to read Colt for Filth. The visual presentation of Colt arriving at this tell-all was astounding.
It's a jump scare.
Reddit hit the nail on the head when they said he pulled up looking like the Mr. Rogers version of Dr. Evil. He has this wild, unkempt beard, this weirdly aggressive posture, but he's wearing an oversized knit cardigan. He is acting like a mafia boss who is currently on a wellness retreat.
In the dialogue, it was like watching two NPCs glitching in a video game. When Jamal comes at him, Colt yells back, "Guess what? I have a job too, idiot." I'm a software developer.
Such a weak comeback.
I had to pause the TV because I was laughing so hard. It sounded exactly like Napoleon Dynamite. I'm a software developer, gosh. It was the least intimidating comeback in the history of television.
It was deeply embarrassing for everyone involved, and Jamal's clapback wasn't any better. Jamal starts yelling about how he has a college degree and a big boy job, and how he only needs to live with his girlfriend, unlike Colt, who bounces between different women's houses.
The bar is on the floor.
Then Jamal calls Colt the B word, and they look like they are about to physically square up. It is just two men in aggressively mediocre outfits posturing over who has the more legitimate W-2.
Okay, I have to ask you to break this down for me. As the resident expert in human behavior, what was Jamal doing? Do you think he genuinely cared about how Colt treats Cortney, or was something else happening? Because literally an hour after this hallway fight, we find out Jamal slept with his mom's best friend.
It is a textbook case of psychological deflection and cognitive dissonance. Let's look at the timeline of the shoot. Jamal is standing backstage. He knows the cameras are rolling. But more importantly, he knows that the Liz bombshell is actively ticking under his chair.
Oh.
He knows it is going to come out on stage. He is carrying an immense amount of subconscious guilt and anxiety.
And he needs a distraction.
Exactly. How does guilt manifest in highly defensive people? As aggression. He goes on the offensive. He scans the room, picks the easiest, most universally disliked target, which is Colt, and tries to establish himself as the moral superior before his own reputation is destroyed.
Wow.
He is essentially screaming, "Look at Colt. Look at how badly Colt treats women. Do not look at me, the guy who hooked up with Liz Woods. Look at Colt's cardigan." He is trying to preemptively bank some moral high ground. It is a classic misdirection tactic, and it failed miserably because the audience can see right through the hypocrisy.
That makes so much sense. It's like when someone accuses you of cheating because they were actually the one cheating.
Not now.
The layers of manipulation are wild. Speaking of men who manipulate, we have to talk about Vanja and Tony and the parade of red flags.
Bring out the marching band, because while Colt is a loud, obvious mess, Tony represents something much darker.
It started off so sad. Vanja's on stage, and she holds up her hands to show off a sparkly ring in her right hand, but then she literally laments that her left hand is naked.
It was hard to watch.
She is sitting there begging for a proposal from a man who treats her like a mildly irritating roommate.
Let's focus on the mechanics of coercive control here, because this is incredibly important. Ross Mathews dug into this, and I am so glad he didn't let it slide. We find out during the interview that Tony doesn't allow Vanja to do Latin dance anymore. He only permits her to do belly dancing.
That part made my stomach drop. Latin dancing is literally her passion. It's her community, it's how she expresses herself, and he just banned it because he's insecure. And she just accepted the ban.
Rose called it out perfectly. He said that in a healthy relationship, no adult is allowed to do something by their partner. That language implies ownership. It is coercive control.
It is.
Abusers don't start by locking you in a basement. They start by slowly isolating you from the things that build you joy and confidence. First, it's the Latin dancing. Then it's the friends you go dancing with. Then it's your clothes. It is an insidious chipping away of her identity.
It is so toxic.
Yeah.
But then the conversation pivoted to the debate about having kids and intimacy, and I got so emotional defending Vanja.
She was really vulnerable.
She broke down crying on stage, and she explained that she does not want kids because she was forced to parent her own parents growing up. She has severe childhood trauma, and she knows she doesn't have the emotional bandwidth to raise a child. That takes so much self-awareness and bravery to admit on television.
It is incredibly brave.
Yeah.
But it also highlights a fundamental, unfixable incompatibility. People have this delusion that therapy can fix everything. It cannot.
Oh, it can't.
If one person vehemently wants children and the other person vehemently does not due to deep-seated childhood trauma, you do not go to couples counseling to figure it out. You break up. There is no compromise. You cannot have half a child.
Exactly. And Tony's just sitting there acting like she is broken for not wanting to give him a baby. And then you add in the dead bedroom. They have zero physical intimacy. Tony claims he needs genuine connection before he can be intimate with her.
Which is such a manipulative cop-out. It puts the blame entirely on her. He is moving the goalposts. Vanja pointed out that if she had to choose, she'd choose emotional connection over sex anyway, but they don't even have that.
They have nothing.
Tony blames her for the missing therapy sessions. He yells at her on the phone. They are a terrible match. They are forcing a square peg into a round hole, and they are just smashing it with a hammer, hoping the splinters look like love.
It's exhausting to watch.
Yeah.
Before we move into our segments, we have to do some quick hits on the rest of the cast. Let's look at Kim's UK romance with Wayne. I actually think it is so sweet.
Oh, here we go.
No, listen. She met Wayne from the UK. They're apparently not seeing anyone else. and she's planning to fly back to London for a week to see if she wants to officially move there. It's giving The Holiday. It's giving Cameron Diaz.
It's giving delusion. You are romanticizing a vacation. Let's look at what Wayne actually said. When Ruddeth asked him point blank if they are boyfriend and girlfriend, Wayne refused to put a label on it.
He's just taking it slow.
He said he doesn't want to rush into labels because they've only met once in person. He is actively keeping his options open across the pond. A man who won't call you his girlfriend on international television is not a man you uproot your life for.
Yes, that's fair.
Then we have Gino's absolute midlife crisis.
Oh, Gino. The hats, the misery.
The audacity. We find out Gino dumped Natalie because she wouldn't be exclusive with him, which is highly ironic considering Gino's track record of inappropriate messaging.
Oh, hypocrite.
He's actively filing for divorce from Jasmine, and he revealed he is apparently dating a 30-year-old named Lexi. A 30-year-old. Gino is in his mid-50s, still wearing those security blanket hats and pulling a 30-year-old. The math is not mathing, but the desperation is palpable.
I cannot even expend the emotional energy to analyze Gino's dating life, but I do want to take a serious moment to send some genuine love to Julia. She came out on stage to reveal her birth story, and it was harrowing.
It was really intense.
She survived a horrific traumatic birth where both she and her baby almost died. She said it took 7 doctors in the room to save them.
Yeah, we have to give her immense grace here. I know the Snark community, myself included, was very hard on her for hiding the pregnancy and acting somewhat superior on social media, but surviving a near-death medical emergency changes your entire perspective. I am genuinely glad she and her baby boy are healthy. The reality TV drama fades away when real life and death are on the line.
Me too. It really puts the petty arguments into perspective. Okay, babes, it is time for our favorite part of the recap, the segments. Segment 1, biggest walking red flag.
My favorite game.
The concept is simple. We debate which cast member from this tell-all should absolutely, legally be mandated to stay single forever. I am going to start, and I am putting my flag firmly in the ground. I nominate Colt Johnson.
I fully expected you to pick Colt. Let's hear the argument.
It is a structural, foundational argument. Look at how this man operates his life. He bounces between Cortney in the U.S. and Diana in Brazil. He doesn't seem to have a permanent residence.
The hotel lifestyle.
He lives in hotels, or worse, he just moves into the homes of the women he is manipulating. He lived in Cortney's parents' house, got kicked out of there, and then moved into Cortney's new boyfriend Philip's house.
Wait, Philip allowed that?
Yes. He is a literal parasite. He leashes off women for shelter and emotional labor, all while acting like this aggressive, dominant alpha male in his Mr. Rogers sweater. He lies, he manipulates the narrative, and he absolutely refuses to take an ounce of accountability. He is the biggest walking red flag on the network.
Okay, your points are valid. Colt is undeniably a mess. He is a walking health hazard to anyone's emotional stability. But I'm going to push back and counter with Tony, Vanja's partner. And here's why. Colt is loud, visible chaos. You see Colt coming from a mile away. You know exactly what you were getting with Colt. Tony is insidious.
Wait, insidious? Colt literally crashes on people's couches while texting other women. How is Tony worse?
Think about the difference in their methodologies. Colt is a leech. Tony is an architect of isolation. Tony actively dismantles his partner's identity. As we discussed, he limits her dancing, which is her passion and profession, under the guise of boundaries. That is textbook coercive control.
It's true, he does do that.
He demands she consider having children when she has clearly, tearfully stated her severe childhood trauma surrounding parenting, completely invalidating her emotional safety. When they fail to go to therapy, he twists the narrative to blame her for the logistical failure, gaslighting her reality.
Yeah, it was awful.
He yells at her, makes her feel small, and then intentionally withholds physical intimacy to punish her, claiming he needs genuine connection. Colt is a nuisance. Tony is a psychological trap, which is actually more dangerous to your long-term mental health. A guy who crashes on your couch and texts his ex, or a guy who slowly, methodically isolates you from the things that bring you joy until you don't recognize yourself anymore.
Oh my God. When you put it like that, it's not even a competition. Tony is terrifying. You're right. Colt is like a raccoon getting into your garbage cans. He's annoying. He makes a mess. But you can chase him away with a broom. Tony's like black mold growing inside your walls. You don't realize it's killing you until you can't breathe.
A perfect analogy.
Okay, you completely win that one. Let's move to segment 2, soft life or delusion. We discuss who is genuinely romantic versus completely unrealistic. I am nominating Liz and Alec for the soft life.
You cannot be serious right now. Have you learned nothing today?
I am serious. Hear me out. Let's look at the narrative arc. They reconnected in their hometown, which is classic romance. He went to a prestigious jeweler, Presley & Co., and custom designed a 4-carat radiant cut diamond.
Oh, boy.
He proposed after a few weeks of officially dating because, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
It's the whirlwind romance we all secretly say we want. She is finally stepping out of the TLC gutter, away from Ed and Jason, and into a life where a man buys her huge diamonds and claims to love her unconditionally. That is the definition of the soft life.
I am screaming delusion at the top of my lungs. I need you to look at the data, not the diamond. She was in a self-admitted hoe phase in the Dominican Republic with Villa mere days before settling down with Alec.
The timeline is a little tight, sure.
She came back from the DR, emotionally shut down, treated Alec poorly for 2 straight weeks, and his response was to buy a 4-carat ring to lock it down. That is not romance. That is a trauma bond wrapped in a high credit limit. They are confusing adrenaline and anxiety with true love.
Ouch.
But to be fair to Liz, I actually nominate Cortney for peak delusion.
Cortney. Why Cortney? She seems pretty aware of how messy her life is.
Because Cortney is engaged to an older man, Philip, who literally wears novelty underwear with her face printed on it while she simultaneously allows her ex-boyfriend Colt to sleep in their shared home.
Oh my God, I forgot about that part.
She gets engaged to Philip, presumably wanting the stable, wealthy suburban life, but she is spending her time backstage at a tell-all screaming at Colt about text messages he sent to another woman. If you are genuinely living the soft life with your wealthy, older fiancé, you do not care who the man in the Mr. Rogers sweater is texting.
You really don't.
You don't care. Cortney is deeply addicted to the chaotic mess while pretending she wants the peaceful suburban dream. She is entirely delusional about what she actually desires.
Okay, that is incredibly accurate.
Yeah.
Cortney says she wants peace, but she actively invites chaos into her guest bedroom. All right, segment 3. Could we ever do long distance? We are spiraling about whether either of us could survive an international relationship.
Oh, this will be good.
I look at Kim trying to do U.S. to the U.K. with Wayne and Pedro, doing U.S. to Colombia with Valentina, and honestly, part of me really romanticizes it. Imagine flying to London for a weekend date.
Yeah.
Having a little flat in Notting Hill, meeting up in Paris for your anniversary. It sounds incredibly chic and cinematic.
It sounds like a logistical nightmare that requires a full-time personal assistant and a massive trust fund. Let's inject some reality into this Pinterest board of a relationship you just built.
You are always ruining my romance.
Yeah.
What is the reality?
The reality is not weekend trips to Paris. The reality is fighting over WhatsApp at 3 a.m. because of the time difference and someone is exhausted and misinterprets a text. The reality is pixelated FaceTime sex where the Wi-Fi cuts out.
Okay, that part is bad.
And let's talk about the K-1 visa process. It is not a rom-com montage. It is federal bureaucracy. It means spending thousands of dollars on immigration lawyers, endless paperwork, background checks, and medical exams.
Ugh, the paperwork.
And when they finally get here, they legally cannot work for months. So you are entirely financially responsible for an adult human being who is depressed because they miss their family, all while trying to figure out if you even like how they load the dishwasher.
The dishwasher loading is the real test of a marriage. But you're not wrong. The legal and financial burden of the visa process looks like actual torture.
We both know the truth. Neither of us has the patience for someone who lives more than a 20-minute drive away, let alone across a literal ocean.
It's true.
If I have to get on the interstate highway to come see you, the relationship is already deeply strained. If I have to show a federal agent a passport to go on a date, we are better off as pen pals.
It's so painfully true. If you do not live in my immediate delivery zone on DoorDash, we are fundamentally incompatible. I need someone who can come over, kill a massive spider in my bathroom, and be back at their own house in under an hour.
Absolutely.
Okay, final segment. Segment 4, Sugar Daddy Manifestation Rankings. We are going to rank which cast members are most likely to successfully marry rich, secure the ultimate bag, and live the life we are manifesting. You are up for the analytical ranking.
Let's run the socioeconomic numbers. Coming in at 3rd place, Liz. Yes, Alec clearly spent significant capital on a 4-carat custom Presley & Co. ring. That shows access to credit or cash.
It's a big ring.
But they live in the same hometown. It's comfortable, it's familiar, but it's not quite the high society, private jet, I don't look at price tags, sugar daddy life. It's upper middle class manifestation. We have a nice boat on the lake energy.
Solid assessment. The lake boat life is nice, but it's not Monaco. Who is second?
2nd place is Cortney. Philip clearly has money. He has a large house, he lets her live in it rent-free, he apparently funds her lifestyle, and most importantly, he tolerates her absolute insane baggage, which includes legally housing her ex-boyfriend.
A huge flex.
A man who has wealth and will completely ignore your glaring red flags is a prime sugar daddy candidate. He is paying for peace he will never receive.
That is profound. Paying for peace he will never receive. And first place. Who is the ultimate manifestation goal?
First place is unquestionably Valentina. Think about the power dynamics at play here. She is a successful psychologist in Colombia. She makes her own money. She travels the world, the UK, South America, everywhere.
She's booked and busy. She doesn't need Pedro's TLC reality TV paycheck. She doesn't need his green card. She essentially has Pedro acting like he is the one who hit the jackpot. He was grinning like an absolute fool on that stage.
He really was.
She is wealthy, highly educated, stunningly beautiful, and she has him completely wrapped around her finger. She didn't manifest a sugar daddy. She manifested becoming the prize herself.
Well,
she is the ultimate goal.
She really is the blueprint. No, honey, I make my own money. Ugh, I love her so much. I want to be her when I grow up.
We all do.
Well, babes, that is it for our recap of this absolute disaster of a Part 1 tell-all. Thank you to the Snark Squad for hanging out, drinking wine with us, and surviving another spiritually aggressive Monday. We genuinely couldn't do this without you.
We need you in the comments right now, babes.
Yeah.
Sound off. What is your absolute biggest dating red flag? Are you a coaster stickler like me?
Could you genuinely date long distance, or do you have a strict 20-minute driving limit? What career did you actually want at 13 before reality crushed your dreams? And most importantly, what is your favorite comfort food after a long, soul-crushing workday?
Yes. Tell us everything. I will be reading every single comment while my dogs completely ignore me. And do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe because we are unpacking this mess every single week, and you do not want to miss out on the spirals.
And remember, whether you are fighting over WhatsApp across the ocean at 3 a.m. or demanding a 4-carat custom ring after a 2-week silent treatment,
Stay delusional.
stay messy, and we will see you on the Snark side.